So I got a message a couple days ago, or comments asking what I use in OS nowadays. So I decided to make this video because why not? I got nothing else to make, so we're gonna do it. Now I want people to keep in mind that I really don't care about what I use in OS nowadays. It's so easy of a content that I just use whatever works for me. Some of my fleets are outdated. I don't care too much. Not to mention, I make like a showcase like once a month or twice a month, and I mix up my fleets a lot, so I can't be bothered using whatever. So I spent like 5 minutes fixing it to something I would probably use if I were like take it very seriously. But nowadays I don't take it seriously, so this is probably what I would use if I were to do OS like seriously, even though it's not like serious nowadays. But here's what I would use. Alright, so here's what I use. So normally in my like video I made like a year ago, I said I would have like 1 mob, 2 and 3 bossing, or like, yeah, 1 mob and like 3 bossing, right? Generally it's similar to that, but I think nowadays I mix it up. I'll go ahead and explain the reasoning for that, but I'll go ahead and talk about each fleet individually. So the first fleet here is quote unquote the mob fleet. I don't think there's anything spectacular with this fleet. Like, you can probably imagine what's going on with this fleet. There's a lot of preloads. Aquila and Perseus are the preload attackers here, and then you have KimoCheese with her torpedoes, and if things aren't done after that, New Jersey goes right after, and then you have Drake for a solid damage dealer. Now Charybdis here is here because I'm leveling her up. I would recommend that you guys use a fleet that can get babysitted comfortably, like Perseus and someone else, and then just level up random ships. Otherwise, if I were to use like a real mob fleet, something like this, and then Charybdis would be replaced with another damage dealer. I don't know who, but another damage dealer. That's what I would use. So in terms of gear, I want people to keep in mind you can use whatever you want, as long as it's like plus 10, like okay. But I use the basic loadout for New Jersey. Like, this is as basic as you can get when it comes to like end game building. So this is what I would use on New Jersey. Aquila, same thing here. I don't think you guys see anything like spectacularly like different here. It's just a standard build across the board for a lot of these ships. Same with Perseus, standard board. Now this would probably be replaced with a AP rockets, and it should. I don't have any spares, so I'll use this for Perseus. Charybdis, just toss whatever. I'm just using her just to be here. KimoCheese here. Now I would replace manual torpedoes with auto torpedoes, but I'm lazy, and I think all my auto torpedoes, my good ones right now, are being used right now. Yeah, they're being used. So yeah, I'm too lazy to replace them right now, so I will replace them with autos though. It's much more efficient that way. And Drake here, also using a generic setup. I don't think there has to be any questions about it. But basically this mob fleet is kill everything first. Perseus and Aquila goes first, and then KimoCheese with her torpedoes. And then New Jersey goes 10 seconds later with her barrage, and then she shoots again with her volleys. And then Drake's there for constant damage, and then Charybdis is leveling up ships. So there's that. And then cast run, whatever. I'm leveling up cast right now, but I think these caps are maxed out, so just use whatever cast you guys have available. The second fleet here I have is my BB setup. Now I changed it a little bit because of Emden's release, so this is what I would use when it comes to the boss fleet. This fleet is quite simple. Duke of York here. Now you could use Bismarck. Honestly, you really can. Me personally though, I think Duke of York is just way better because she gives like a consistent damage buff. Like this skill right here, if she hits her volley, 12% more damage taken for 8 seconds. This right here is really good. Now Bismarck has her aura buff going on, but Bismarck herself, just like Duke of York, does paper damage. I just like Duke of York way more. I think she's way more consistent when it comes to damage compared to Bismarck, because she depends on a barrage that's like RNG. So I just use Duke of York. And then you have UVH, one of the best battleship damage dealer as of right now in the game, so you can't go wrong with that. And then FDG is here for flagship, very durable, has some pretty good damage as well too, so I just tossed her in, stat wise, all that jazz, really powerful. And then Rune Moose is here because just like the other Vanguard, she adds some sort of buff to the backline. So Rune Moose right here has the little slow. She also has Encore Flare. Encore Flare here makes it so enemies take 10% more damage for 6 seconds. So this right here is pretty good. Not to mention Rune Moose herself does a lot of damage as well too, so that's also really good. Now Emden here, I tossed her in because of my recent showcase with her. I like using her a lot. She buffs up pretty much all the strong damage dealers for KMS. So if you guys don't know, like E-Girl, Rune Moose, UVH, FDG are really strong damage dealers. FDG strong damage dealers. But she is pretty good though. So 10% more firepower to them, can't go wrong with that. It's a really powerful buff. So that's why I brought her here. Not to mention she has the slow debuff as well too. So once again, can't go wrong with Emden. I like using this ship ever since I started talking about her. Love her a lot. And then E-Girl here, tank, debuff, also has the armor break. Very good ship, probably the best Vanguard as of right now in the game, next to Helena. Can't go wrong with it. Can't go wrong with her. She's really, really powerful. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. Honestly, really good ship here. This boss fleet setup, I don't use it that much. Honestly, I prefer having New Jersey here, but she's in the mob fleet right now. If I'm doing like Arbiter stuff, I'd probably swap off like FDG for New Jersey if I'm doing Arbiter fights. But if I'm doing like Strongholds or like Corruption level 6s, first of all, I'll use my carrier setup, but it's not that big of a deal. The fleets nowadays that I use for OS is overkill, so it doesn't really matter that much. But for Arbiter fights, though, I'll replace New Jersey with FDG and probably run something similar. Maybe Helena in here somewhere, or she's in my carrier setup. But yeah, third fleet here. A third fleet here is kind of different. I guess it kind of deals with light armor, but the real purpose of this fleet here is just for me to stack up cross buffs or cross barrages. If you guys don't know already, I have Independence. I have God, I forgot her name. Marco Polo and Kronstadt here, which offers a cross barrage or a cross buff of some sort. So having these girls around help buff up my other fleet, so that's why I have these guys around. And then Richard Lou is there for just preload damage if I have to use this fleet. And then Helena Maida as a buffer, and then Aurora as a debuffer for light armor. So this deals with light armor stuff. So I don't use it often. It's just really there just for auras, but if I do have to use them, they'll probably deal with like light armor stuff. It's nothing like spectacular. Now the fourth fleet here is carrier setup. Now if I want to do like any fast corruption bosses or whatever, I just use this fleet. This fleet one taps pretty much everything in OS as of right now that isn't arbiters. So I just toss this in. Very powerful. Everything just knocks out everything. Oh, by the way, third fleet here, if you want to see my gear, nothing crazy. Just build standard, guys. It's nothing crazy at all. Just build very standard for the third fleet. Now, the carrier setup here. This does all my bossing. This blows away pretty much every boss in OS aside from Arbiter on the first tap. Now, it can do it on the first tap on Arbiters, but it's RNG. It's very, very RNG, but if it does work, it does work. So Arc Royal here, I have the torpedo bombers converging. Nothing crazy here. It's very, very standard build. We have Shinano, also standard build. If I were to go against heavy armor, I'll replace the AP rockets with another Junkers or a Ryuseis of converging bombers to deal with heavy armor. Otherwise, for light and heavy armor, or light and medium armor, I use this setup. And then Haku is the same thing. Light and medium armor, I deal with that stuff. I use this. So big damage across the board. And then as for my vanguards, I can't slide right now. I have Helena, Kazugumo, and Azuma. So Helena here, for obvious reasons, is there for the scan, big carrier damage, all that jazz, right? Kazugumo's there for the air resistance buff, 15% aviation to all carriers, so can't go wrong with that. And also the heal as well too, but I don't have to worry about that much. And Azuma's there just to pretty much be a tank. I would put E-Girl here, but she's in another fleet right now, and I'm not doing like meta fights, so I'm not like super worried about having like a really durable tank like E-Girl in my first slot. So I just mix it up. Obviously all 3 large cruisers are in my fleets because of their high health pool. Not to mention they have really good damage as well too, so that's why I use them there. OS nowadays is all about just doing a lot of damage and being robust. So if you're robust and do a lot of damage, you're pretty much going to be good in OS. So that's how I build my fleets. Standard mob fleet, pretty much overkill. You don't have to do this overkill for mob setups. Boss fleet here, you can change it up to your liking, but this is what I use for my BB boss setups. Third fleet's for cross barrages, and then steal light armor stuff if I have to. And then fourth fleet here is just carrier. This pretty much does all my bossing for me, and just boom, boom, boom. As for submarines here, a standard across the board. I'm doing bitters, and then that's pretty much it. It's nothing crazy. If you have 125s, definitely recommend doing them. I probably will 125 my submarines in the near future. But I'm just lazy right now, and I kind of don't want to do it because I want to hold on to my cog arrays. So that's pretty much it. So this is what I use nowadays, guys, in OS. I don't think I talked about it in a recent video. Maybe I have, but this is pretty much what I use nowadays. Maybe the first fleet had changed up a bit. Like I'll probably use like 4 or 5 ships that needs to be leveled up, and not use all capped ships like I am right now. But this is pretty much what I use all day if I do OS stuff. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys learned something from the video. Feel free to ask me whatever you guys want. If I respond to them, I respond to them. Otherwise, I probably am not going to respond to them. But just to give you guys some hope, I may respond to them. So enjoy the video, guys. I'll see you on the next one as always.